let's bring in Janice McGregor. And Janice, this is the ability for the Carney government to essentially pursue its agenda unimpeded. What does it do with that?
I wouldn't say unimpeded. Let's not confuse sort of the idea of a majority government with one-party rule. There's still an important role for the official opposition to play in this parliament. But yes, by-elections always a test for a sitting government. A big relief for Mark Carney's Liberals to win this one with a big credibility bonus, I think, for going 3 for 3. The Liberals took nothing for granted with respect to these by-elections. They have recent lived experience of what it's like to go into Toronto and Montreal seats perceived as Liberal strongholds and actually lose in by-elections. This time, that is not what happened. These 3 women ran. These 3 women won. Let's hear from them.
As of tonight, Mark Carney and our entire incredible Liberal team have earned an even more powerful mandate to continue building a better Canada.
Je vais travailler tous les jours pour eux, pour que la voix de Terrebonne soit entendue partout à Ottawa et où ça compte absolument.
Tonight, we celebrate something so powerful. Not just an incredible campaign, but a community coming together, putting aside their differences to choose hope, compassion, and progress.
One of the criticisms of the Carney government so far is that we haven't maybe always been hearing from women on his team as often. So what might we hear from these 3? First, Danielle Martin, a longtime advocate for public health care. Is she going to be able to bolster the Liberals' message on health issues that, frankly, Mark Carney himself doesn't speak very often about? Dolly Begum, adding her voice now as an advocate for the diverse communities of Scarborough Southwest, of course, brings a progressive track record as a former deputy leader at Queen's Park for Ontario's NDP. That bolsters the Liberals' left flank. Something to watch as she takes her seat in Ottawa, however. She's been a sharp critic of the Carney government's lack of action to support Palestinians in Gaza. Is she going to have to reconcile that somewhat as she joins their team? And finally, Tatiana Auguste, 25 years old, earning a lot of respect in this kind of do-over of the previous campaign. Again, winning this nationalist Quebec seat, this time, though, by a margin of hundreds, over 700 votes. No judicial recount this time. We aren't going to have the final turnout numbers for some time, but it is a tribute to the ground game of all the parties here that there were nearly as many votes cast for the winner and runner-up in Terrebonne as we saw in the general election a year ago. That's a hopeful moment for democracy. Pierre Poilievre likes talking about the popular vote. I want to pause here and note that the Conservative popular vote collapsed in all 3 of these seats. Instead, the opposition leader in his social media post last night ended the night with a very large asterisk on this majority government that we're now seeing, telling Canadians that it wasn't these wins that secured the majority. It was, in his words, the backroom deals with floor crossers who betrayed the trust of people that voted for them a year ago.
Janice, we have been in many ways expecting this majority to come about, either through the drip, drip, drip of floor crossers or now the by-elections, particularly the 2 in safe Liberal seats. Now that Carney has it, what does he do with it?
Yeah, indeed. That statement you read talks about the Liberals continuing to govern by working with all parties. This work ahead demands collaboration, he said, if they're going to work at speed as they aspire to. He's going to get right down to it this morning at 10 Eastern. He's going to be out announcing relief for consumers at the pumps, acting on his recent hints about taking action, perhaps trimming the 10 cent a litre federal fuel tax. A gas tax holiday actually was first proposed by Conservatives. So how interesting this morning to see his first move out the gate, with a majority government now, even though he doesn't need opposition support to pass this anymore, he's doing something that they might all agree on.
Janice McGregor in Ottawa, thank you very much.
You're welcome.